The next speaker is our speaker, Mr. Cheong, SC Cheong. Yeah, so Cheong. So I would like to move on that Mr. SC Cheong is a Vice President of Singapore Industrial Automation Association. Mr. Cheong championed the robotics group since 2016 and co-chaired the Singapore International Robo Expo conference and exhibition from 2016 to 2018. The SIRE, or in short, attracted country pavilions from Korea, the Netherlands, the United Kingdom to showcase their robotic technologies in Singapore. SC had crafted the robotic ecosystems for SIAA based on 4 key pillars: knowledge, engagement, regional reach, and leadership, with a business focus on the key drivers. He also is one of the key drivers for the SIAA 3 major initiatives: Common Model, Air Hub, and Training on Demand. These initiatives have started to gain attraction amongst members and agency. So Mr. Cheong here will share with us on robotics for facilities management. SE, over to you, please.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks a lot for the kind introduction. So first, I'd like to thank SAMS as well as SIGFA, I think, for this kind so-called invitation to share in this webinar about SIAA drive for the robotics, the technology and the solution from our members.
Sorry, just to stop you. Before you actually carry on, can you put your slides in the full screen?
Sure.
Yeah, thanks.
Yep. So I think the fact that we are able to come to this webinar, it shows already a very clear signal that the collaboration has already started. I think we would like to take this as a good starting point to collaborate further in terms of how we tap on the technology that will benefit all the stakeholders. So my presentation will primarily looking at into the landscape of robotic. Robotic typically is actually best used in the 3D, right? What we call the DAO, the dirty and the dangerous. So in FM, especially in the cleaning portion, DAO and dirty is actually pretty common, right? So this actually suits the FM application in a great way. However, we would also like to ask ourselves, why is it not readily available as yet? So I come to that challenges and all this later. At the same time, I'd also like to share some of the things that we are already doing in SIAA as well. So a quick landscape about these robotic solutions. I go pretty detailed to explain some of the possible cause about the adoption as well as purchasing. I think some of these are our members as well as solution readily available right now. Gaussian robotics, for example, they are in declining. So this is the cost 1.5K, 1,500 per month if you are leasing. If you are purchasing, is 38,000. Of course, then the other one is a SUTD spin-off, Lion's Board, which is at this point of time, they have several models, and the leasing is about 2,000 plus. And if you're buying per unit, it's 75,000. So they do cleaning as well as very quickly respond to the COVID situation. They've come out with this disinfection robot as well. So the other key player is also the MI Robotics. They have a telepresence robot, entertainment robot, concierge robot, security robot. So you can see it from the summary over there. It ranges from 2,009 to 4,005 per unit for leasing, purchasing. So this itself, you can already see the big change in the landscape in Singapore for robotics offering. In the past, it's always in the selling model as a business model. But now everybody is going for the leasing as well, right? We have also another local, very strong technology company, 6AGT. So they are focusing on the surveillance robot, multi-terrain, also as well as indoor robot. Their current model is primarily in purchase way. We have also Western Robotic, which is also a company that's able to integrate good solution for robotics. They are into mass detection, social distancing. Within a very short period of time, they have responded The reason why they are able to do that is because they are able to do in the modular form. They're able to few example, a few modules, then respond to the market needs. As you can see, the listing model is about 3,000 per month, and purchase is 45,000. Disinfecting robot is also available from them. And then, of course, we have the big MNC like Omron, Japanese company that is offering robotic mobile units, mobile platform that is able to put something on top to for the various function. So we have also a new tech, also bringing in robot that is primarily focusing on hospitality, healthcare, education, purchased at 5K per unit, and many more in the so-called drone that is used for facade inspection and drone. Of course, I did not mention about the price here. So why is such a big differences for all these? I think the primary issue is really the performance of each of the robot is quite different. The environment that they're operating is different. The terrain that they have to cover is different. So how long they are working in the terrain, the power in terms of what are the requirement in terms of IP requirement, meaning how well they're protected against the external environment, temperature, rain, water, and all this will be different. Of course, the other key point is also quantity that they are prepared to offer to the customer. Is it 5 unit or versus 300 unit or 1,000 unit? The other key point, I think, is also the product architecture. Whether they are making this in a modular form. Modular form meaning the same module will be able to apply in the several model. Typical, for example, R&D cost required for a particular model, it can cost from 800,000 to 1.2 million if you're only making one model. But if you are making the whole product line, there is a clear product architecture with modular form, you can actually optimize the R&D by having, for example, 5 million for 13 model, right? So the other key difference is also how much commonality standard item versus customized item. If the application is used in such a way that the requirement, the specification is within a very general range, then of course standard item which is off the shelves is available, and this of course will have the very affordable cost. And ultimately, I think it depends also on the term and condition, the support and maintenance required by the robots, right? So I would like to also share this market feedback from implementation of all these robotic solutions currently. One is really the market size. I think what I'm sharing today is primarily the data from Singapore, not yet too much in the region. Of course, for the region, that is actually the big opportunity. So if you're talking about Singapore alone, the market size is pretty limited, right? Also the high cost of the hardware, availability of the maintenance of expert in-house, like FM, I think like what Tony have shared earlier, many of the FM expertise in-house is in the incline, not so much in the technical aspect. So that I think bring the good opportunity like what he highlighted in the adoption of the technology and also possible training opportunity for people that is offering robotic solutions, right? The other key point is also optimize the process before automation. That mindset, theoretically, it is good to optimize the process before you implement automation solution like robotic solution. However, it's always a chicken and egg issue. We can't be making a new facility like again like what Tony have shared. You start from the beginning to design in is great. You will get the full benefit, but I don't think many of the players in the market can afford to wait for 3 to 5 years after the construction to see the benefit. So there's really need to redesign the environment and having a integration based on the current infrastructure. And then of course, we have a lot of current challenge like the integration of the robotic solution to simply just the lift would be a quite an expensive solution. For the lift, actually, because of the safety requirement and all this, it is also not easy for them to open their data and the control system to the rest of the system integrator. So these are some of the current challenges during the implementation that we are seeing. So early adopters are mainly agency that's in Singapore market. So different needs may not be able to port over the commercial consideration easily. I think from agency point of view, there's pretty specific in terms of the productivity driven and policy driven. So this is still requires some connection, matching of all these call for grant for the solution to be able to have a solution that, beside addressing the agency need, is able to port over for commercial application later. So you can reuse some of the IP and the technology. And also the lack of vision of leadership adoption roadmap. I think this is very crucial, because I think the moment you have a certain leadership and roadmap for the technology and product, you will be able to have everybody align, work together. Even you need to collaborate, you will have require strong leadership as well as a roadmap for everybody to work together. So yeah, why do we need to be the first one to come into this adoption of robotic technology, especially in the FM area? So I think there are 4 points that I want to put forward as a point for you to consider. First is change before you are forced to change, right? So that you are you have more, basically you have more leverage of what are the options that you have. Like what also Tony has shared, aging, availability of foreign workers is reducing. Manpower cost is definitely going up. Also at the same time, then you really have no choice, but you must be able to attract the local workforce. So this is one of the possible way that using robotic, who is taking care of the dull and dirty work, will be able to attract more local workforce to make the job interesting for them. Right? It takes time to change the mindset of relevant stakeholder and finding the sweet spot for automation. One of the very, very successful robotic adoption company that we've seen in Europe actually is in Holland. It's called Smart Robotic. What this guy did is actually, every time before they implement the robotic solution, they will spend 2 days, bring the robot, go down with the stakeholder, the workers especially, who's supposed to adopt the robotic solution, let them play with the robot, let them realize what is the performance of the robot, how in what way it can integrate into the work and make it easier for them. So this is extremely important. I think we also hear story about not robotic, even just a cleaning machine where the bosses invested in the machine. If the workers do not have the right mindset, it is very difficult to keep the machine in good condition. And after several months, then the maintenance cost has to go up a lot. That again is a very challenging situation. So ultimately, for technology adoption, the human part of it is still a very key factor, right? Forward-looking culture is critical for next phase of company survival. It is like what we have also mentioned, COVID hit us in a very short time. Nobody can expect it will last for 6 months to 8 months now. So having the right culture of forward-looking in all the company is extremely important as a survivor. Right? Last point, leadership, collaboration, technology advancement. I think many of the speakers have shared. And then the cost now of the key component are coming very quickly, just like computer and smartphone. The moment you have quantity, the moment you have more people that is coming into this area of robotics, then the cost can drive down very quickly, right? I'm sharing this one is not for you to read in detail, but basically what we wanted to explain to you is the association actually together with, we are a so-called supplier association. There are many demand association like SIFMA and SAM and all these. So basically we are working together with a lot of all these associations and together with agencies and standard council to establish what are the standards to adopt so that it's easier for business people to quickly pick up the standard and then really bring to the market so that you cut short the learning curve, you cut short the mistake you make. And of course, all these mistakes can be quite costly, especially when you're talking about robotics, right? All this safety, the deployment, as well as procurement procedure. So all these are uncertainty, unknown, which trade association and agency work together will be able to bring a lot of benefit to all this. So the last few slides is just a very quick explanation of what SIAA is doing besides robotics. So we basically look into AIR. A is automation, I is IoT staff, and then R is for robotics. So we focus on knowledge, network, leadership, and marketplace. Some of the marketplace now we are also addressing to, for example, the COVID pandemic. So we are actually increasing the interaction among members through the Zoom and all these remote contact, proactively hunt as a pack, collaborate among the members, so that we came up with a platform that is having a different interest focus group. I think these are the 6 areas. You can read it yourself: building automation, cold chain, intelligent surveillance, intelligent logistics, low touch economy, smart factory. And these are the so-called some of the key so-called solution people that is in our membership. And this is the A Hub, where A stands for automation, IoT, robotic, focusing in the knowledge as well as solution, which is the skill to be able to address the problem that, especially in the technical side, for many of the businesses. I think the key point is to have some solution that is driven by people that is very business focused, and that is where the association is aspired to achieve, right? So this is a very quick summary of what I wanted to share with the webinar today. Yeah, now I'll hand back to Michael. Thank you.